My business partner called me at midnight screaming, "The investors are pulling out. Wire $80,000 by morning, or we lose everything we built." I said calmly. "Then we lose everything." Hung up, turned off my phone, and went back to sleep. The next morning, a call from our company accountant revealed something that made me physically sick. Let me get straight to it because this story is absolutely insane. I'm Marcus Chen, 34, a software architect living in San Francisco. I co-founded a tech startup 3 years ago with my college roommate, Brian Walsh. We were supposed to be equal partners, 50-50 split, equal decision-making, building something together. But for the past 18 months, Brian has been treating our company like his personal piggy bank, while I worked 80-hour weeks to keep us afloat. I funded emergency expenses, covered temporary cash flow issues, and believed every excuse he gave me about why the money would be paid back next quarter. But that midnight call wasn't about saving our company. It was about covering up the fact that Brian had been embezzling for over a year. And what happened next destroyed not just our business, but exposed a con so calculated it involved my own girlfriend. If you've ever trusted a business partner who turned out to be stealing from you while smiling to your face, drop your story in the comments. I read every single one. Where are you watching from? Let me know your city. Now let's get into what really happened. I'm 34 now, living in a converted warehouse loft in Soma that I can barely afford, because I keep pouring money into our startup. My business partner Brian Walsh is 35. We met freshman year at Berkeley, became best friends, stayed close after graduation. When I came up with the idea for Cloud Sync, a data management platform for small businesses, Brian was the first person I called. "Let's build this together," I said. 50-50, true partnership. He agreed immediately. We shook hands over beers at our favorite dive bar in Oakland. That handshake cost me everything. The first 2 years were brutal, but honest. We both worked insane hours, split every expense down the middle, made decisions together, built something from nothing. By year 2, we had 15 clients and $400,000 in annual revenue. Then Brian started asking for money. It began small. "Marcus, can you cover payroll this month? My investor check is delayed. I'll pay you back next week." I covered it. $12,000. He paid me back 3 weeks later. "Hey man, the office lease is due and my bank account is temporarily frozen because of some identity theft thing. Can you front it? I'll Venmo you tomorrow." I covered it. $8,000. He paid me back 5 days later. The requests got bigger and came faster. Emergency server costs, $15,000. My credit card got declined. Can you handle it? Legal fees for the trademark filing, $6,000. I'm between accounts right now. Client dinner with the Austin prospects, $2,000. I'll expense it next week. Every time Brian had a reason. Every time he paid me back, eventually. Every time I believed him because we were partners. Brothers. Building a dream together. I started keeping a spreadsheet because the amounts were getting hard to track. 18 months of temporary loans. $340,000. That's not a typo. $340,000 I'd fronted for our company, while Brian promised every cent would be reimbursed through the business account. "It all evens out in the end," he'd say, with that easy smile. "We're in this together, bro." I believed him, because when you trust someone completely, you don't see the knife until it's already in your back. The midnight call came on a Thursday in October. I was asleep finally, after a 16-hour coding session, fixing a critical bug for our biggest client. My phone exploded with Brian's ringtone at 12:07 a.m. I answered half-conscious. "What's wrong?" "Marcus." Brian's voice was pure panic. "The Palo Alto investors just emailed. They're pulling out of the Series A. They found some discrepancy in the financials, and they want their due diligence deposit back immediately. $80,000. If we don't wire it by 9 a.m., they're threatening legal action, and the whole deal collapses. I sat up, suddenly wide awake. What discrepancy? I don't know. Some accounting error. But that doesn't matter right now. We need to wire them the money first thing tomorrow, or we're done. The whole company is done. Brian, I don't have $80,000 liquid right now. Yes, you do. You have that money market account. I've seen the statements. Something cold crawled up my spine. How have you seen my personal account statements? That's not the point. The point is, we're about to lose everything because you won't help save the company we built together. I've given you $340,000 over the past year and a half, and I've paid back almost all of it. You've paid back $67,000. I have the spreadsheet. Silence. Then his voice changed. Lower, harder. So you've been tracking it, like I'm some kind of charity case. I've been tracking it because you keep asking for money, and I need to know where we stand financially. Where we stand? This is our company, Marcus. There is no you and me. It's US. And right now, US is about to go under because you're being selfish. I'm not wiring $80,000 at midnight based on a phone call, Brian. Send me the email from the investors. Let me see the financials they're questioning. Then we'll figure it out in the morning. We don't have until morning. They want the wire first thing. Then we're fucked, because I'm not doing this. Marcus, I'm begging you. I'm literally begging. If you don't do this, 3 years of work is gone. Everything we built, everything we sacrificed, gone. I closed my eyes, thought about every late night, every missed birthday, every relationship that failed because I was married to the startup. 3 years of my life. Then I thought about $340,000 in temporary loans that were never temporary. Then I guess we lose everything, I said quietly. What? You heard me? I'm not wiring the money. If the company dies, it dies. You're really going to do this? You're really going to let our dream die because you won't help your best friend? Good night, Brian. I hung up, turned off my phone completely, pulled the battery out so it couldn't restart, and went back to sleep. For the first time in 18 months, I slept without the weight of someone else's emergency crushing my chest. I woke up at 8:30 to my landline ringing. Yes, I still have a landline, backup for when my phone dies during long coding sessions. I answered. Hello? Marcus, it's Jennifer. Our company accountant. She sounded shaken. Hey Jennifer, what's up? I need you to come to the office right now. Don't call Brian. Don't tell him I called you. Just come. What's going on? I can't explain over the phone, but you need to see this. Now. I threw on clothes and drove to our office in Soma. 20-minute drive that felt like 2 hours. Jennifer was waiting in the conference room, laptop open, papers spread across the table. Her hands were shaking. I got an email this morning from the Palo Alto investors, she said. They're not pulling out. They never were. I sat down slowly. What? There's no discrepancy in the financials, no due diligence deposit to return. I called them directly. They have no idea what I'm talking about. The email Brian showed you, it's fake. Why would Brian fake an email from investors? Jennifer turned her laptop toward me. Because of this. The screen showed our company bank account, the one Brian and I both had access to, the one that should have had approximately $180,000 based on our recent client payments. Current balance, $3,247. Where did the money go? Jennifer pulled up transaction records. I've been going back through 18 months of statements. Marcus, Brian has been systematically transferring money out of the business account into a personal LLC he created. Look, she showed me transfer after transfer. $5,000 here, $15,000 there, $25,000, $40,000, all going to an entity called BW Consulting Group. What's BW Consulting? Brian Walsh Consulting. It's registered in Delaware. I looked it up. He's the sole owner. He's been invoicing our company for consulting services and approving his own invoices, then transferring the money to his personal account. I felt my stomach drop. How much total? Jennifer's voice cracked. $890,000. The room spun. Almost $1 million. He's been doing it since month 6 of the company. Small amounts at first, then bigger as the revenue grew. Every time you fronted money for temporary expenses, he was actually covering the hole he'd created by stealing from the operating account. So the $340,000 I loaned the company went straight into the business account, and Brian transferred most of it out within days. You were basically funding his theft. I stared at the spreadsheet. Transaction after transaction. Months of systematic embezzlement while I worked 80-hour weeks thinking we were building something together. There's more, Jennifer said quietly. How can there be more? She pulled out her phone, showed me an Instagram account I didn't recognize. ABW Consults. The bio read, entrepreneur, investor, living the dream in Malibu. I scrolled through the posts. Brian on a yacht. Brian in front of a beachfront house. Brian with a blonde woman I'd never seen before. Caption, my queen makes it all worth it. Who is that? Jennifer hesitated. Check the tagged photos. I clicked. Found the woman's account. Sophia Luxlife. My hand started shaking. Because I knew that face. I'd seen it 1,000 times. That was Sophia, my girlfriend of 8 months. I scrolled through Sophia's Instagram in complete silence. Jennifer watched me, looking like she might be sick. The post went back 14 months, long before I'd met Sophia. Sophia and Brian at a restaurant in Napa. Caption, best weekends with my favorite person. Sophia and Brian on a beach in Mexico. Caption, paradise with you. Sophia and Brian in front of a Malibu house with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the ocean. Caption, our dream home is finally real. BW Consults your everything. Our dream home, not theirs, ours. Meaning Brian had bought a house in Malibu with money he'd stolen from our company. When did you meet Sophia? Jennifer asked gently. 8 months ago, at a tech mixer in the city. She said she worked in marketing. Did Brian introduce you? I thought back. The mixer had been Brian's idea. Let's network, meet some potential clients. We'd gone together. I'd been talking to a potential investor when Sophia walked up. Hi, I'm Sophia. I couldn't help overhearing your pitch. CloudSync sounds amazing. We'd talked for 20 minutes. She was charming, interested, asked smart questions about the product. At the end of the night, she gave me her number. Actually, yeah, we went to the mixer together, but I don't remember him introducing us directly. She just appeared. Jennifer pulled up another photo. Brian and Sophia together at the same tech mixer, timestamped 2 hours before I'd met her. They were standing in a corner, heads close together, his hand on her lower back. I think, Jennifer said carefully, that Brian sent her to you. On purpose. Why would he do that? Look at the timeline. You met Sophia 8 months ago, right after you started questioning some of the expense reports, right after you asked Brian for a full financial audit. I remembered. I'd been concerned about cash flow. Asked Brian if we could bring in an outside accountant to review everything. He'd gotten defensive, said I was being paranoid, that we didn't need to waste money on audits when Jennifer was perfectly capable. Then I'd met Sophia, and suddenly I'd been distracted, happy, less focused on the business finances. You think he sent his girlfriend to date me as, what, a distraction? I think Brian needed you focused on anything except the company books, and Sophia gave him 8 months of cover. I looked at the photo of them together at the Malibu house. Sophia kissing Brian's cheek, posted 3 days ago, while she'd been texting me, "Miss you, babe," and sending heart emojis. My phone, which I'd finally turned back on, buzzed. Text from Sophia. "Lunch today? I'm craving that Thai place you love." I stared at it, felt nothing. Just cold crystalline clarity. "I need to call the police," I said. Jennifer nodded. "I already contacted a lawyer. She's expecting your call. Her name is Patricia Morrison. She specializes in corporate fraud." I called Patricia from the conference room, explained everything, the embezzlement, the fake investor email, the discovery about Sophia. Patricia listened without interrupting. When I finished, she said, "This is wire fraud, embezzlement, and conspiracy. You need to file a police report immediately. I'll draft a civil complaint. We can freeze his assets, get a forensic accountant involved, and pursue both criminal and civil charges." "How much can I get back?" "Depends on what he's already spent. But with $890,000 stolen and a Malibu house as evidence, we have a strong case. Do not, and I mean do not, confront Brian before the police are involved. He'll move money, destroy evidence, disappear." "What about Sophia?" "If we can prove she knowingly participated in the scheme to defraud you, she's criminally liable too. The fact that she infiltrated your personal life to distract you from discovering the theft? That's conspiracy." I hung up and immediately called the SFPD Financial Crimes Unit. They took my statement over the phone and told me a detective would contact me within 2 hours. At 11:47 a.m., Detective Sarah Reyes called. I walked her through everything. She asked me to come to the station with all documentation. By 2 p.m., I was sitting in an interrogation room with Jennifer, Detective Reyes, and a fraud specialist, going through 18 months of bank records. "This is pretty clear-cut embezzlement," Detective Reyes said. "We'll get a warrant for his business records and personal accounts. Don't contact him. Don't warn him. Let us handle this." "What about Sophia?" "We'll question her too. If she's involved, we'll know." I left the police station at 4:30 p.m. and drove home in a fog. My phone had been blowing up all day. Brian had called 47 times, left 23 voicemails, sent 68 texts. I listened to one voicemail. "Marcus, where the fuck are you? The investors are going nuclear. I need that wire now, or we're both fucked. Call me back." The investors that didn't exist. The emergency that was fake. All of it designed to extract one more payment before I discovered the truth. I deleted every message, blocked his number. Then I texted Sophia, "We're done. Don't contact me again." She responded immediately. What? Why? What happened? I sent her a screenshot of her Instagram with Brian, the Malibu house. The caption, "Our dream home." 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Then, I can explain. I blocked her number too. The police moved fast. Friday morning, Detective Reyes called. We executed a search warrant at Brian Walsh's Malibu property at 6 a.m. He's in custody. We've frozen his accounts and seized his electronics. Did he say anything? He lawyered up immediately, but his bank records don't lie. We found evidence of the transfers, the fake LLC, everything. The DA is filing charges today. Embezzlement, wire fraud, identity theft. He'd been forging your signature on several documents. What about Sophia? We picked her up at the same time. She's cooperating. Claims Brian told her you were an investor who didn't know he was using company funds for personal expenses. Says she didn't know it was theft. Do you believe her? No, We found text messages between them discussing you specifically, how to keep you distracted, how to make sure you didn't ask too many questions. She's going to be charged as an accessory. I felt nothing. No satisfaction. No anger. Just emptiness. What happens next? Criminal trial. Probably 6 months out. In the meantime, we've frozen all his assets. The Malibu house, his cars, his bank accounts. You can file a civil suit to recover your losses. I called Patricia Morrison. She'd already drafted the civil complaint. We filed that afternoon. Brian Walsh and Sophia Reed, defendants. Charges: fraud, embezzlement, breach of fiduciary duty, conspiracy. Amount sought: $890,000 in stolen funds, plus $340,000 I'd personally loaned, plus punitive damages, plus legal fees. Total, $1.4 million. By Monday, the story had hit TechCrunch. CloudSync co-founder arrested for embezzling. $890K, allegedly used girlfriend to distract business partner. My phone exploded. Investors, clients, former colleagues. Everyone wanted to know what happened. I ignored all of it, shut down my social media, hired a PR firm to handle press inquiries. Tuesday, Brian's lawyer called Patricia with a settlement offer. Brian would plead guilty to reduced charges, surrender all assets including the Malibu house, and agree to repay $600,000 over 10 years. That's not enough, I told Patricia. It might be all we can get. He's leveraged everything. The house has a massive mortgage. Most of the money is already spent. Then we go to trial. That could take years. I don't care. I want him to face what he did. We rejected the settlement offer. The trial took 9 months. During discovery, we found even more evidence. Brian had been planning this since the beginning. Before we even incorporated, he'd set up the BW Consulting Shell company. He'd always intended to steal. Our partnership, our friendship, all of it had been a long con. Sophia testified in exchange for a reduced sentence. She admitted Brian had recruited her specifically to date me, to keep me distracted, to report back on whether I was getting suspicious. He paid me $5,000 a month, she said on the stand, not meeting my eyes. Plus expenses. He said you were a difficult partner who didn't understand business, that he needed someone to keep you occupied. The jury deliberated for 4 hours. Guilty on all counts. Brian was sentenced to 6 years in federal prison, ordered to pay full restitution, $123 million including interest and legal fees. Sophia got 18 months and 3 years probation. The Malibu house was sold at auction. I got $340,000 from the sale, barely a third of what Brian had stolen. The rest I'll probably never see. His other assets were gone, spent on cars and watches and a lifestyle he'd funded with my work. CloudSync collapsed. Without Brian, and without the capital he'd stolen, we couldn't sustain operations. Our clients left. Our employees found other jobs. 3 years of work, gone. It's been 14 months since that midnight phone call. I'm 35 now, living in a smaller apartment in Oakland, working as a senior developer at a mid-sized tech company. Steady paycheck, no drama, no partners. I paid off my legal fees last month, $67,000, worth every penny to watch Brian get sentenced. I haven't dated since Sophia. Don't know if I can trust anyone like that again. Don't know if I want to. My therapist says I'm processing trauma. That betrayal by people you love cuts deeper than any financial loss. That I'm allowed to be angry, to grieve, to take time. I ran into one of our old clients last week. She'd followed the news. Marcus, I'm so sorry. You built something great. Brian stole more than money. She was right. He stole 3 years of my life, my trust, my dream, but he didn't steal everything. I still know how to code, how to build, how to create. I'm working on something new now, alone this time. Just me, no partners, no investors, no one to trust except myself. It's slower this way, lonelier, but it's mine. Last week, I got an email from Brian's prison account. The subject line was, "I'm sorry." I deleted it without reading it. Because sorry doesn't give me back 3 years. Sorry doesn't erase $890,000 in theft. Sorry doesn't undo the fact that my best friend looked me in the eye every day while systematically destroying everything I'd built. Sorry is just a word. And words from Brian Walsh have always been worthless. I'm 35, single, starting over from nothing. But I'm free. Free from the weight of someone else's lies. Free from funding someone else's life. Free from trusting people who see me as a resource instead of a human. CloudSync is dead. My friendship with Brian is dead. My relationship with Sophia never existed. But I'm not dead. I'm still here. Still building. Still moving forward. And this time, the only person who can betray me is me. If this story resonated with you, drop a comment about where you're watching from. And if you've ever had a business partner steal from you while calling you family, you're not alone. Subscribe for more stories. Because sometimes the people who call themselves your brother are the ones robbing you blind. And sometimes the only way to win is to walk away and build something they can never touch.